Bivens was his name, yeah. He was a gifted teacher right off the box. Never taught a day in his life. Came to the program. On day one, he was gifted. He went into a school and started teaching, and was teaching like he was a master teacher. I would write a book just on how he taught. You know, when I started to interview these guys, and him and about 3 other guys who were seemingly gifted in this way, they said a few things that you guys, you will all understand as black men. They just happened to go into teaching. They wanted to be something else. One guy was a security guard. Yeah? One guy wanted to be an engineer. One guy wanted to be an accountant. Because of finances, because of some weird set of circumstances, became an accountant, became a mathematics teacher. I went to college to study accounting. Why? Because that's what everybody was telling me in this pipeline that I should be. Because we're going to deal with accountants. Guess what? I don't like accounting. I like math. So I took up math as a side hustle. I double majored. I didn't even tell people for months. I double majored in math as a side hustle because I liked it. By the time I finished college, I hated accounting. I loved my mathematics. When I came home, I looked for jobs in accounting because that was my main. I couldn't find them. I was unemployed. I was running around the street looking at all these kinds of interviews just out on the street. My mom came home, I remember, and she needed me to attend a parent-teacher meeting at the school for my younger brother. I went to that meeting for her because she was so tired, and the guy, the principal at the school, said, look, I need a math teacher. Are you available for 6 months? And so, hey, I then became a math teacher. And that's when I fell in love with this thing called mathematics teaching education and so forth. But I bumped into it. I just bumped into it. Imagine if we were deliberate about our outcomes for black men. And so many, I hear so many of these tales, I collect these tales around me, of black men who unintentionally fall into greatness. And that's the power of our community. That's having a tech school, a technical training school, and producing all of these entrepreneurs. That wasn't its intention. But the greatness of our community, the greatness of our faith carry us through these things. And you probably have similar stories. Then there's clear flow. At all times, people are flowing through this pipeline. It's a simple mathematics problem, calculus problem. If there's a greater pressure, the rate of change around the intake of this pipe, of these pipes, is greater than the rate of change of the outtake. You have these bottlenecks, yeah? But if the intake is so limited, while there's opportunity, but there's no access to the opportunities, you see these slow trickles, and it produces invisible black men. You can't see. It's invisible as Wonder Woman's jet. She had an invisible jet. Remember that? Wonder Woman. The last thing you have to understand about pipelines is that they're very, very, very fixable. Pipelines are fixable. The systems we are in do not have mechanisms to fix themselves. No system can revolutionize or liberate itself. The only thing that liberates systems are people pressure. And so that's why we need people, actors, and action activists who can focus on how we liberate our systems. Don't overlook these pipeline values. Don't get so caught up in pipeline, black males and pipelines that you don't overlook the values of a pipeline. If only what we did for black males was a pipeline, we'd be all right. So what does it mean, engineering the way forward? I like this metaphor because when I left the academy, I started to think more like an engineer versus a scientist. And let me just explain in a real tongue-in-cheek sort of way what I mean. When an engineer and scientist approach a problem, the scientist asks the question, why? Why is it raining? A scientist will devote his entire life to why it's raining. Right? Why? I know, I was in the academy, guys, I understand. Why, black man? Why? I get it. This engineer comes across and says, look, man, maybe the problem has no solution. You might never be able to find out why it's raining, number one. Two, the solution might be so complex. The reason it's raining might be so complex you can't do anything about it. And two, even if you find a solution, even if you find out why, you don't have a solution. So why are we focusing so much on why? The engineer comes across and says, look, let's just build an umbrella. And so instead of gazing at gaps for black men, we need more people who are focused on umbrella building. And you give us some nice fancy umbrellas, we need more umbrella builders, action-oriented. My community, I don't know about yours, my community is tired. They're tired of it. I don't want to see one more piece of research on black males at this point in my life, to be quite honest with you. I understand your work. I didn't want to see it. I want to talk about actions and outcomes. Not just actions and outcomes, but shared outcomes. And let me jump to this next slide. So let me look at the program My Brother's Keeper that we talked about the other night. It's a perfect set of outcomes. It's a perfect set of outcomes. All black men entering school, cognitively, physically, socially, and emotionally ready. If we just did that alone, we would revolutionize education in this country and others. Just that one. This is the second one. Ensuring all children read at grade level by third grade. I'd add another one too. Ensuring all black males finish middle school competent in algebra and problem solving. Right? You don't finish algebra and problem solving. You're not competent in that space, you're at risk. You're at risk. I have another one too. Finish high school doing calculus. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Black, not everybody can do calculus. Nonsense. Nonsense. I'm not the one. I'm not the one to tell them. Utter nonsense. We can. If they can do it, so can we. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got sidetracked. So shared outcomes, right? Outcomes. Fred Nichols, who is the father of solution engineering, says, I need you to focus on solution engineering, not problem solving. Solution engineering. Get so focused on the outcome that your talk about the problem disappears. You want to get over gaps and the gap narratives, focus on outcomes. Outcomes. And then our problem in our communities is we don't share outcomes. So come together by sharing a set of outcomes, yes? Engineer an urgent policy of action. And then empower local teams, ground up stuff. Local teams to carry out these actions, and then combine programs into a pipeline approach across agencies. So what might it look like? I was talking to Larry Munson, the head of our Bermuda Football Association. We have these leagues, yes? Former, just, I think they just voted him up. No, they didn't vote about he actually. So let's take reading, for example, yes? We want all black men reading by grade what? 3. In Bermuda, that's about age 8, yeah? The Football Association has a league, youth leagues that run, one is the Under 7 League. Now remember, this is a great gathering organization. Black males flock to Bermuda football like no other organization in the entire country. Imagine at the end of the Under 7 program, the Bermuda Football Association, right, assessed all of those young people in that program for their reading proficiency. And anyone not reading, by the time they finish the Under 7 program, is immediately shepherded into the intervention programs so that by the time they 8 are reading, before they get into the Under 9 program. You see, that would be deliberate. What if the Department of Education made it its sole responsibility to partner with Bermuda Football Association to make that happen? That would be a deliberate, not a program, forget programs, pipeline that would take young people through football, these community clubs, and partner. That's what this thing could look like. They gather, we can transport. Parent engagement through the churches. Churches can bring groups of black women together like nobody's business. Yeah? Hey, what if the Department of Education, for example, began to run our parent-teacher association meetings through the churches? They bring them together like nobody's business, am I right? Through the churches. What if we wanted to have a goal of calculus for all black men in this country? What if we combine that to a mentoring program? Because we know at the middle grades and the first 2 years of high school, black men in this country are most vulnerable. So we have to pair it up with a community agency of mentoring that would look at their identity, their self-efficacy, their mathematical mindset. It's a pipeline. What if we took alternative education programs and made its mandatory outcome college? Beyond the GED, college, or professional certification in some applied field, along with therapy as its core. Well, what if the GED programs that came through, if we had GED programs that focused on community care, job training, and college prep at our churches. I was even part of a program at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Hamilton where they had a GED program that serves hundreds of young people, yeah? They had soup in the evening, they had babysitting, 3 minutes, thank you. Soup in the evening, babysitting as well on the side, and then there was job placement advice and consultation with young people that were in that GED program. That's a comprehensive GED program. GED programs as a college prep ground held at a church. Those are a pipeline, and as Brother Ty called, in my view, water crossing institutions. We need water crosses as people, but we need water crossing programs and water crossing institutions. So Adopt Shared Outcomes combine programs into a pipeline approach across this country. This is just a sample of what this kind of engineering mindset could look like. Yes, we need more research, and we need more scholarly direction around where we're going, but we need to really combine and look at our head, our heart, and our hands. Yes, that's public narrative, my story, our story, and the mission that is ahead of us. And the mission that is ahead of us is to become our brother's keeper, and to move this country forward, your nation forward, and the globe forward around the outcomes for